Well, what is the crack? My name is Jake Kavanagh, and I'm going to be running you through a quick presentation on essentially how to be more explosive. Why is this important? So, if we are more explosive, then it is more likely that we will perform better and we will win more in our sport. So this could be sparring sessions, could be in just general fighting, it could be on the pitch. Any sort of sport, if you can be more explosive, you're more likely to perform better. If you're performing better, then obviously you're more likely to win that duel or fight, whatever it may be. So what is explosive power? So explosive power can be visualized through this graph where we've got on the y-axis we've got force, and on the x-axis we've got velocity. So velocity is how quick we can move, and then force is the amount that we can move. So think of it like a graph. So you've got on the top you've got maximum strength. So this is like 90 to 100% of your 1 rep max, and then the maximum velocity would be like less than 30% of your 1 rep max, and you're moving that for as fast as possible. Okay, so there's different ways that we can improve explosive power, but just to sort of generalize and have a good understanding of things, you have your maximal strength. So this is things like your compound lifts, back squats, bench presses, deadlifts, and you're always going to be working plus 80%. These could be asymmetrics as well. Max effort asymmetrics, just to be more exact. And then you've got slightly down on the curve, we can be 75 to 85%, and this would be things like Olympic weightlifting, and this is about moving the weight as quick as possible. Okay, so we're not always trying to work on our explosive power. So like when we're doing these sort of maximum strength attempts that are 80% of our 1 rep max, for us to try to rip into it and be explosive there, it's potentially going to lead to injury. So we have to be slightly more cautious and careful in these sort of lifts, where when we start to come down the curve, we can start to be more explosive because we're less likely to get injured when performing these sort of movements if we're doing them correctly, obviously. And then lastly would be maximum speed. So this would be like sprinting and plyometrics. Alright, but I'm just going to grab a little pen here and you'll see the blue pen. So I want to give you an idea of what we want to achieve through strength and conditioning. Okay, so we have the curve that goes along here. Okay, don't mind my bad drawing, but essentially with our strength and conditioning, we want to gradually move our strength along here. Okay, so we're pushing this line out this way, and then with our speed we want to be pushing it this way. Okay, so what that'll do, say if our, sorry, I meant to do it this way, not that way, but if our max strength is all the way up here and our max speed is here, it means the curve is now coming a bit more like this, which means from here, from this point to this point, when we get to here, we're going to be a lot more explosive. Okay, our explosive power is going to sit roughly on the middle where these two meet. Okay, so our explosive power is typically going to be around about here, and obviously it depends on the movement that you're doing, but the stronger we can get and the faster we can get, eventually this curve starts to improve, and that's the goal with our strength and conditioning. Okay, so I want to show you how to program strength and conditioning yourself, and so that you can learn from this and apply it to your own training and eventually start seeing some better results. And then if you want, you can potentially work with me at the end as well. But let's get moving. Why is this not? There we go. So here's what you should not do, and this is where a lot of people can go wrong, is a lot of people will do sport specific bullshit. This, a good example of this would be when you see like boxers and fighters, you know, doing these weird sort of punching movements with a heavy weight and stuff. That's bullshit. Like, that's not realistic. That's not how you should be doing this. And the reason being is when you're doing weird movements like that, you're affecting your actual technique. So if you're trying to punch with a heavy weight, you're then drilling an incorrect punching technique, so it's going to affect your actual technique. And then secondly, because it's a weird technique, you're not going to be able to properly progress the movement, and it's going to stop you from making progress because you're limited to stability and things like that. So you'll see a lot of people advertising this shit, and that's just incorrect. Next, don't do a lot of high reps and too much volume. You're not trying to over fatigue yourself. The weights room and strength and conditioning is there to supplement your sport. The idea is that you're performing better. If you're doing too much volume and you're doing lots of reps, you're going to be way too fatigued, and it's actually going to hinder performance when it comes to your sport. So avoid high reps and too much volume. But do not avoid lifting heavy, okay? So too many people that are in sport are scared of going heavy because they think they're going to get injured and it's going to be too fatiguing. That is not the case. You can lift heavy as long as the volume matches that and the volume is correct, okay? If you're lifting heavy for high reps, then yes, it's going to fuck you. But do not avoid lifting heavy because you're scared of getting injured, because you need to be getting stronger, okay? And then one of the common mistakes people do is they train strength last. So many people will go in and they'll do a cardio session and then train strength after it, and it's just incorrect. So never train strength last. Ideally you put cardio and conditioning at the end of the workout. That is if you're doing them on the same day, okay? So what does work? Well, heavy compound lifts, training at max speeds, the minimal effective dose, okay? So this is what I'm talking about when I'm saying the weights room is there to supplement and improve your sport, not hinder it. So we only do the minimal effective dose. We're not trying to like throw on loads of fucking volume, loads of heavy lifting to the point where you're like over fatigued and you can't perform correctly. So we just want to give you just enough that you're able to progress and then maintain that year round, okay? Progression, we want to make sure that we're always able to progress, so this is why keeping things simple is going to be a massive factor. Alright, so here is example on some strength and conditioning framework that you can use and apply in your own sessions. So the warm-up should last anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes, and again, these are ballparks. Not every session will be like this, but the purpose is to raise your temperature, mobilize the joints of the area that you're going to be working. So there's no point warming up your shoulders if you're doing a lower body day, unless you had bad mobility and you needed to warm up the shoulders for positioning. But the main thing is that if you're going to do a pressing movement, then yes, warm up your shoulders. So be specific about where you're mobilizing. Don't just do a full body routine. You're going to be there all day. Just think, what am I using today? What do I need to mobilize? What do I need to sort of stretch out? And then think about how can I prime my central nervous system, so your CNS. So the structure could be something like light pulse bulks or bike and skips, dynamic mobility, so movement through stretching, and then low level plyos and throws. And the main thing is that a warm-up is to prepare you. They do not exhaust you for your session, okay? I know this is really common in MMA gyms. A lot of MMA gyms, their warm-ups can be quite intense. And, well, just from my experience in MMA, a lot of times you look around the class and people are out of breath and they're fucked after the warm-up. That is warming up stupidly because they're just a fact in the actual session. So make sure that you're warming up to improve your the skill work and the strength, not necessarily for exhaustion, okay? So next we have speed and power blocks. So it should only last between 10 to 15 minutes, and you're just going to pick 1 to 3 movements, okay? So these can be a range of different things, but some examples would be box jumps, broad jumps, med ball throws, and short sprints. And you want to be programming these for 2 to 5 reps and roughly 3 to 5 sets. Ideally what you would do is you would program this where it progresses over time. So you could start off week 1, you're doing 3 sets, week 2 4 sets, week 5 you add an extra rep, and so on. And then make sure that we're fully recovering from them for 2 to 3 minutes. Too many people don't recover in enough for their speed work, and they treat it like a hypertrophy block or a bodybuilding set where they're giving themselves like 90 seconds. You want to be taking 2 to 3, if not 3 minutes. And the goal here is to be fast and be violent in your intent. So don't just think fucking, alright, I'm just going to do a few med ball throws. Like, no, like throw that thing as hard, max effort as possible. Okay. Then we have our main strength block. So pick 1 to 2 big lifts, and this will be 20 to 30 minutes long. And you're going to program again 3 to 5 sets, 3 to 6 reps. Again, you can progress that up, and the goal is get strong without frying the nervous system. Okay, so this could be, say, 2 examples, 2 separate workout plans. One workout plan is day 1, you pick squat movement and a push movement. So it could be like a barbell front squat and a barbell bench. Then your second day on that workout program could be a hinge movement, so think like a deadlift or a trap bar deadlift, and that could be paired with a pull, such as like a pull up or a chin up. I probably wouldn't pair the hinge and the pull on the same day, but you can if you want, and you'll still get good results. The main thing is you're getting strong without frying the nervous system, and that you're training at RPE 7 through 9 or 1 to 3 reps in reserve. Okay, so for anyone that doesn't know, RPE is rate of perceived exertion. So if I said give me 100%, that would be 10 on the RPE scale. You can't go any higher than 10. So think of it 7 to 9, more like 70 to 90%. Okay, so you're working at 70 to 90% of a max effort. All right, and then another way to measure would be reps in reserve. So if you're able to do 10 kilo or 10 reps on 100 kilo, but you can't do any more reps than 10, then 1 to 3 reps in reserve would be anywhere from 7 to 9 reps. Okay, just put them 2 options in there because people have different ways of understanding it. So the accessory and resilience block, the main thing is here you're picking 2 to 4 movements that are going to help balance out the body, bulletproof joints, and build supportive muscle, and more so focus on sort of weaker areas. This should all be specific to you, and you'll know, like if you have lacking hamstrings, if you're someone that's prone to a hamstring injury, then pairing this with like pairing your squats and your bench press day with some hamstring curls and tricep extensions are going to be a good way to add in some accessory. And then of course you can throw in some core work and rotational work as well. So think anything like, you know, a sort of landmine rotation press with a barbell, or something along the lines of like hanging leg raises, anything that's going to sort of help you be more stable and more controlled. But the main thing is that you're working between 8 to 15 reps, and this is slightly more hypertrophy, more like a bodybuilder. You're going to have controlled tempo, so 3-second negatives. So say we're doing a bench press, we're pressing up, and then 3, 2, 1, up, 3, 2, 1. Now obviously you're not going to be doing a bench press, I'm just giving that example. Alright. And shorter rest times, so 1 minute to 1 minute and 30 seconds. Then you have some optional conditioning, and this is going to be specific to you. So you could throw this in at the end of the workout, or you could throw this in on a completely separate day. It's all going to depend on what sport it is you actually do, how often you're training in that sport, so how many skill-based sessions do you have, and then if you're in camp or out of camp, are you working towards a peak? Like, are you trying to peak, or are you just trying to sort of prepare for your next camp, or just keep things ticking and keep progressing while you're out of camp? It all just depends, but this can be anywhere from 5 to 30 minutes. Depends on your sport. If you are a MMA fighter doing 3-minute rounds, you might want to do 3 minute on, 1 minute off, and repeat that for 3 to 5 rounds. If you're, say, a amateur boxer, you could be doing something different. It really just depends on your sport, and you know, you can do different things to factor that. But general conditioning would be typically things that are going to be interval, so anything from 5 to 30 minutes. Okay, so here's just a quick example of a weekly structure. So again, 2 to 3 sports sessions per week. This is in your skill based, so say this could be like you do striking on Tuesdays, or striking Monday, grappling on Wednesday, and again hard sparring on Fridays. Then alongside that, you could do like your 2 days in the gym, or you could do 3 days, depends on how much time you have to dedicate it to. But this is an example of what it could look like. Okay, so what should you do now? Okay, so you've got two options really. Option one, you can take this information. If you have a bit of background, you could probably try to write something out yourself, or you could plug it into ChatGPT, and you can have a program in minutes, and you can get to work. But there's two things that can happen. Okay, so number one, or scenario one, you stick to it, you get these decent results, you fine tune, you see what works, see what didn't, and you repeat and you build a brand new program. Okay, if this is you, perfect. It's less common because you don't have the accountability, but if this is you, then by all means get stuck in, and I'm sure you'll be fine. Obviously it's always going to be better with a coach, but if you don't need one right now, then no worries. So scenario two though, okay, so this is if you do nothing, you watch this video, you stay the same, and eventually you stop playing your sport, or you yo-yo in and out of it. It's so common, especially in something like martial arts, where people are stop start with their martial arts, and this is because they're not on plan, they're not progressing. It's hard to measure their progress, and they feel like nothing's really working for them, and they eventually just yo-yo in and out of it. Okay, this is most common. You see this all the time with martial arts. I've been guilty of it myself in the past, and this is because you don't have a clear path to progression. Okay, like we have, in jiu-jitsu we have our belts, but we don't really know when we're getting them. Okay, it's hard to tell. You might be told in 4 months time there's going to be a grading day, but like, how do you know you're really working towards that? One of the best ways is through strength and conditioning, because this is going to keep you on the right path. It's going to keep you on track, and as long as you're like, if you have coaching, if you have the accountability, and you're staying on track with your strength and conditioning, then it is absolutely like impossible that you won't improve and get better in your sport, and that's eventually going to lead to progress. So or what you can do, option two, you can take action, you can book a call, you get a personalized approach, so we'll diagnose the issues that you're having and we'll work on that together. You can stick to the plan, you can become more athletic, you can become more explosive than ever before. So if that is you, and you're option two, and you're ready to level up, then there is a link in the comments down below or somewhere around this video. Click on that, book a call, and I will help you create a plan tailored to you that's going to get you on the right path. Okay, thanks very much for watching this. I hope you learned from it. Again, if you're not booking the video, please at least plug this into ChatGPT and make use of it. Okay, you need to be following a plan, you need to have structure, otherwise you're just winging it, and eventually you're going to stall, get fed up, and slack off.